Hi there, beautiful soul. Welcome back to Healthwise for Seniors, the channel where we believe growing older doesn't mean fading away, it means stepping into your truest light. Today, we're diving into 12 daily habits that truly happy women over 70 swear by, and spoiler alert, none of them require a gym membership, a new wardrobe, or pretending to be younger than you are. Now, some people say happiness is just easier when you're young. We say that's a myth. Because after 70, you're finally wise enough to stop chasing and start choosing. You've learned what matters, what doesn't, and how powerful it feels to wake up with joy that's rooted, not rushed. And here's the beautiful twist. Most of the habits we'll talk about today are incredibly simple, so simple, in fact, that you might laugh at how easy they are to try. But wait for number 7. It's the one thing almost no one talks about. Yet it's the exact habit that has saved countless women from slipping into quiet loneliness. Before we get started, if this kind of gentle inspiration speaks to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Healthwise for Seniors. Your support helps us create more heartfelt content for women just like you, wise, vibrant, and wonderfully real. Ready? Let's explore what truly joyful women over 70 do every single day, not to impress anyone else, but to stay connected to their bodies, their hearts, and most importantly, their spirit. For many women over 70, mornings no longer start with a packed schedule or family demands. Instead, they begin with something far more sacred, a quiet moment just for themselves. Happy women at this age don't roll out of bed and dive into chores or news headlines. They pause, they breathe. They set the tone for their day with a simple, intentional ritual. Some say a prayer. Some gently stretch under the covers. Some brew a warm cup of tea and sit by the window as the sunlight slowly fills the room. Take Margaret, for example, a 76-year-old retired librarian in Vermont. Every morning, she lights a lavender candle, plays soft piano music, and wears her favorite blue shawl, not for anyone else, but to remind herself, "This day still matters. I still matter." That tiny ritual shifts her energy. It's not about productivity, it's about presence. Science backs this up. Morning rituals help regulate stress hormones, improve mood, and create a sense of emotional stability. Something deeply needed as we age and face unpredictable changes in our bodies, our routines, and even our social lives. But more than that, these rituals are acts of self-respect. They're not trendy, they're timeless. You don't need a perfect routine or 5 a.m. miracle habits. Even 2 minutes of quiet with a warm drink or a whispered affirmation like, "Thank you for this day," can make a world of difference. Because when we begin the day with love, not for the world, but for ourselves, the world tends to respond in kind. One of the most powerful yet overlooked habits among joyful women over 70 is simple. They go outside. Every single day, not for errands, not to keep up appearances, but to reconnect with themselves and with the world around them. Just a few minutes of fresh air can be enough. A breath, a breeze, the morning light touching your skin like a soft reminder, you're still part of this world, and the world still has beauty for you. Take Alina, a 74-year-old widow in Colorado. Every morning, she steps barefoot onto her porch, even in the winter, with her cup of coffee and just listens. The wind through the trees, the distant sound of birds, the gentle hum of a neighborhood waking up. She calls it her soul stretch. "It's like my lungs breathe in life again," she says. "And for a few minutes, I forget the noise in my head and remember that I'm here, and that's enough." Fresh air is more than a poetic image. It's science. Studies show that even 10-15 minutes outside a day can lower cortisol, the stress hormone, raise serotonin, the feel-good chemical, improve blood pressure, focus, and even sleep quality. And for older women, who may spend more time indoors, that connection with nature becomes a source of quiet strength. You don't need a garden or a mountain trail. Open a window, sit by a tree, let the sun hit your face, let your body be warmed by something other than worry. Because when your skin feels the morning air, your mind feels more alive. And when you feel alive, you walk with a little more grace, speak with a little more lightness, and wear your years like silk instead of stone. If there's one thing all vibrant women over 70 have in common, it's this: they never stop being curious. Not about everything, but about something every day. It might be learning how to search for recipes on YouTube. It might be asking your grandson what an emoji means. It might be wondering how to grow lavender from seed. The happiest older women aren't the ones with the most answers. They're the ones who still ask questions. Let me tell you about Helen, a 75-year-old retired seamstress from Oregon. After decades of sewing by hand, she recently bought a used iPad to explore watercolor tutorials on YouTube. Her granddaughter helped her set it up. And now, every evening, Helen spends 20 minutes following a new painting video, pausing, rewinding, laughing at her messy mistakes. "I'm not trying to be great," she says. "I just love not knowing what I'll discover next." That's the key. Curiosity isn't about being perfect or productive. It's about keeping the mind and the spirit open. And it's more than emotional feel-good talk. Research shows that continued learning improves memory retention, strengthens neural connections, increases emotional resilience, slows cognitive decline. But even beyond the science, learning something new gives you something precious, a reason to look forward. And at 70 or 80, having a sense of next is a quiet kind of magic. It doesn't have to be big. You're not going back to college unless you want to. Start small. Look up a flower you saw on your morning walk. Try a new recipe. Ask your neighbor about the bird that visits her feeder. Watch a short documentary about a place you've never been. Because when we stay curious, we stay connected to the world, to others, and to ourselves. And there's nothing more stylish than a woman who is interested and interesting. Her eyes sparkle differently. Her mind moves lightly. And her presence feels alive. At 25, we dress to be noticed. At 40, we dress to juggle everything. But after 70, the most radiant women dress with intention, not for others, but as a quiet act of self-respect. It's not about trends, brands, or compliments. It's about standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I still care about me, I still matter, I still deserve to feel beautiful." One woman who embodies this beautifully is Linda, a 73-year-old retired teacher from Virginia. Even on days when no one visits, when she has nowhere to go, she puts on a soft cashmere cardigan, a rose-colored lipstick, and her favorite silver necklace. "Because when I feel good in my skin," she says, "I move differently. I speak more kindly. I even taste my coffee more." And science agrees with her. Psychologists call it enclothed cognition, the idea that what we wear affects how we think, feel, and behave. Even subtle choices, a pop of color, a soft scarf, a pair of earrings can boost confidence, reduce anxiety, improve posture and mood. After all, clothing carries energy. And when we dress with love, we radiate it, even if we never leave the house. That doesn't mean dressing up. It means dressing on purpose, choosing softness when we need comfort, choosing color when we feel dull, choosing structure when we need strength. This is especially powerful for older women because the world often stops looking at us, so we begin to forget how to see ourselves. But style isn't about being seen. It's about being felt by ourselves. So ask yourself each morning, what do I want to feel today? What color makes me feel light? What texture brings me peace? Then dress accordingly, even if it's just for breakfast, even if no one else will notice, because you will, and that's enough. One of the most graceful habits happy women over 70 cultivate is this: they've learned to stop complaining. Not because life is easy, but because their peace is precious. Gratitude didn't just replace the habit of venting. It transformed their entire emotional landscape. Let's talk about Joan, a 77-year-old woman from Minnesota. For years, she began every phone call with aches and updates on how the world's falling apart. Until one day, her best friend gently said, "Joan, I miss hearing about your garden." That moment hit her hard. She realized she had become a narrator of everything broken, and in doing so, had stopped noticing what was still blooming. So she made a quiet promise to herself. Each time she felt like complaining, she would name one thing she was grateful for first. Sometimes it was big. "My daughter called today." Sometimes it was tiny. "The toast came out perfect this morning." But it worked. That shift wasn't denial, it was wisdom. Because what we focus on grows. Psychologists call this the negativity bias, our brain's natural tendency to zero in on problems and threats. But the good news is, we can rewire it. Daily gratitude practices have been shown to improve sleep, reduce anxiety, boost immune function, and elevate overall happiness. But beyond the science, there's something softer, more sacred. When you stop pouring energy into what's wrong, you leave more space for what's beautiful to breathe. Gratitude doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means choosing not to give your limited energy to things you can't change, and instead, investing it in what still brings light. You don't have to write in a journal or chant mantras unless you want to. Just pause, look around. Name something, anything that still feels good, still works, still warms your heart. Because every time you do, your world softens a little. And you become a woman whose presence lifts a room without saying a word. Happy women over 70 know a secret. You don't need to run marathons to feel alive, you just need to move. Gently, daily, with love. At this age, the goal is not weight loss, sculpted abs, or looking younger. The goal is mobility, energy, and emotional well-being. Take Diane, 74, from Northern California. Every morning, she plays soft jazz and stretches for 10 minutes in her kitchen. Then, while her tea steeps, she gently sways to the music. Some days, she'll walk to the mailbox and back. Others, she'll dance barefoot while folding laundry. It's not about fitness, she says. It's about feeling my body say, I'm still here. And she's absolutely right. Science shows that even 10-15 minutes of light movement a day can improve joint flexibility, reduce stiffness and chronic pain, boost balance and prevent falls, strengthen the heart and reduce anxiety, support brain function and reduce depression. And perhaps more important, movement reconnects us with our bodies, not as problems to fix, but as miracles to care for. After 70, we don't move for performance. We move for preservation, for grace, for joy. It can be as simple as rolling your shoulders in the morning, standing up every hour and stretching your arms, walking slowly around your living room, sitting in a chair and lifting your knees, practicing gentle yoga or Tai Chi in the backyard. There is no right way to move, only the kind way. And here's something beautiful. When your body moves, your mood lifts. When your breath deepens, your mind clears. When you stretch your limbs, you expand your life. Because a woman who continues to move, even slowly, even stiffly, is a woman saying, I'm not done. I'm still showing up for life, for myself. Loneliness after 70 doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes, it looks like silence, quiet mornings, long afternoons, and too many meals eaten alone. But happy women in their 70s have learned something gentle and profound. Connection is a choice, and it starts with the smallest gesture. You don't need a full calendar. You don't need a house full of people. You just need a moment of genuine exchange, a text, a phone call, a wave, even a smile exchanged with the grocery store clerk. Take Clara, 78, from Michigan. She lives alone, doesn't drive anymore, and most of her friends have either moved or passed away. But every morning, she sends a quick voice note to her niece in Arizona. Sometimes it's just me rambling about my plants, she laughs. But I know someone is hearing my voice, and that makes me feel human again. That's the essence. To feel seen, to be heard, to matter. Social connection, even brief, is shown to lower risk of depression, improve heart health, boost memory and cognitive resilience, increase life satisfaction, and even longevity. And it doesn't require deep conversation. Sometimes the most powerful connections are the softest. A compliment to a stranger, a thank you note left on a neighbor's porch, a thinking of you message to someone from your past, joining a walking group or church circle, saying good morning with real warmth. Because when we reach out, even gently, we send a signal to the world. I'm still here and I still care. And often, the world responds in kind. True connection isn't about how many people surround you. It's about how open your heart stays, even in solitude. At this stage in life, food isn't just fuel, it's a form of tenderness. And the happiest women over 70 have learned to eat not with guilt, fear, or habit, but with presence, attention, and care. They eat slowly, consciously, gratefully, not because of a diet, not to chase youth, but to say with every bite, I'm still worth nourishing. Let's meet Elaine, 76, from New Hampshire. She used to rush through her meals while reading the news or thinking about what needed fixing around the house. "I'd finish a sandwich and barely remember the taste," she says. Then her doctor suggested she try mindful eating. So now, every afternoon, she sets her table, even when she eats alone. She lights a small candle. She places her food on a ceramic plate she loves, and she eats slowly, breathing between bites. "It feels like a little ceremony," she smiles, "and my digestion, my energy, even my mood, all improved." And that's the truth. How we eat matters just as much as what we eat. Mindful eating improves digestion, reduces overeating, increases appreciation for food, strengthens the brain-gut connection, turns a routine meal into a calming ritual. And for older women, who may deal with slower metabolism or changing appetites, it becomes a quiet way to stay connected to their bodies and their needs. It doesn't require a perfect diet, just a little more awareness. Ask yourself, am I really hungry right now? How does this food make me feel during and after? Can I slow down and enjoy the texture, flavor, and warmth? Choose foods that support you, not shame you. Fresh vegetables, gentle proteins, healthy fats, herbal teas, but also a piece of dark chocolate, a homemade cookie, a comfort soup that reminds you of your mother's kitchen. Because eating well isn't about control, it's about kindness. And when a woman eats with love, her body listens, and her spirit softens. There comes a time in every woman's life when outer noise no longer satisfies, and the quiet begins to feel like home. That's what the happiest women over 70 have discovered. True peace doesn't come from doing more. It comes from tending to the soul. They don't just take care of their bodies. They care for their inner world every day, through meditation, through prayer, through quiet moments with a good book or a beautiful piece of music. Take Marilyn, 79, from Washington State. Each morning, she sits by her bedroom window with a cup of chamomile tea, closes her eyes, and says a silent prayer. Then she reads one chapter from her favorite novel, not to finish it, but to be nourished by the rhythm of words. "It's the only time I don't feel rushed," she says. "It reminds me that even if the world feels heavy, my spirit can stay light." And she's right. Caring for the spirit, whatever that looks like for you, helps reduce anxiety, improve emotional resilience, deepen sleep, strengthen meaning and purpose, foster self-compassion and calm. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to meditate for an hour. You just need a few sacred minutes to breathe deeply, to listen inward, to reconnect with the quiet part of you that's always been wise. Some women write in journals. Some sit in nature and let the wind speak. Some recite affirmations or gratitude lists. Some paint, knit, hum old hymns, or simply sit in stillness. Whatever your practice, what matters is not what it looks like, but how it makes you feel. Because when you nurture your spirit, you don't just feel better. You become a steady presence for yourself and for everyone around you. By the time a woman reaches her 70s, her heart has held so much. Love and loss, joy and regret, tenderness and betrayal. Some of those memories still shine. Others still sting. But the women who carry peace into their later years aren't the ones with the fewest wounds. They're the ones who have learned to lay them down. Every single day, they practice forgiveness, not because what happened was okay, but because they refuse to keep suffering for it. Let's meet Barbara, 75, from South Carolina. She spent over a decade resenting her sister for something said in anger during a family argument. Every time she thought of her, it reignited the pain. Until one morning, Barbara whispered, "I forgive you, and I forgive myself for holding on so long." She didn't call, she didn't send a letter, but something in her spirit softened. She slept better that night. "Forgiveness isn't a grand event," she says. "It's a quiet decision I make again every morning to let the past sit behind me, not beside me." And that's what true forgiveness is, not forgetting, not excusing, but freeing your hands from carrying what already happened so you can reach for peace. Research shows that forgiveness lowers blood pressure and stress, improves immune function, deepens emotional clarity, increases compassion, even toward yourself. And yet, it doesn't always come easily. Sometimes we need to forgive a parent who never understood us. Sometimes a partner who left us hurting. Sometimes it's ourselves, for things we said, things we stayed silent about, choices we made from fear, not truth. But every day we choose to release, even a little, we get a bit lighter, a bit more open, a bit more whole. Forgiveness is not a finish line. It's a muscle of the heart, and we strengthen it with practice. And the more we forgive, the more room we make for something softer to enter. Peace, kindness, breath, and the quiet knowing, I have suffered enough, I am ready to be free. The happiest women over 70 know something simple and powerful. Laughter isn't a reaction, it's a practice. They don't wait for something funny to happen. They make space for joy on purpose. Because laughter at this age isn't about being entertained. It's about keeping the heart light, the mind flexible, and the spirit young. Meet Judy, 74, from Arizona. Every evening, she watches an old episode of The Golden Girls while folding her laundry. She's seen them all 100 times, but she still chuckles. Sometimes, she calls her best friend Sharon just to share a ridiculous memory or a silly joke. It's not about the punchline, Judy says. It's about feeling that lift inside like something in me just let go. And research backs her up. Laughter reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, releases endorphins, natural mood boosters, relaxes muscles and eases tension, boosts immune function, even improves heart health. But more than that, it reconnects us with our humanness, because joy isn't something we grow out of. It's something we need more of, especially as life gets quieter. You don't have to be a comedian, just be open to the little absurdities of life. A funny memory from childhood, a video of a dancing dog, a grandchild's joke that makes no sense but still warms your heart, a spontaneous wiggle in the kitchen while waiting for the kettle to boil. And if you're not laughing enough, create the conditions for it. Watch a favorite comedy. Spend time with someone playful. Read a lighthearted book. Dance badly on purpose. Make silly faces in the mirror. Yes, really. Laughter reminds us we're still alive, and that joy doesn't expire. Even if your knees ache, even if the world feels heavy, even if today was hard. A deep, honest laugh shakes something loose inside and makes space for light to come in. Because every giggle, every chuckle, every belly laugh is a whisper from your soul saying, I'm still here, and I still know how to smile. For many women over 70, nighttime brings a certain kind of stillness. The house is quiet. The to-do lists are done or forgotten, and the world outside goes dim. But the happiest women don't let the day slip away without a moment of reflection. They end each day with gratitude, not as a ritual of perfection, but as a way to come home to themselves. Take Susan, 73, from North Carolina. Every night before bed, she sits in her favorite chair by the window with a small notebook and writes down 3 simple things. The neighbor's dog wagged its tail at me. My knees didn't ache as much today. The tea I had after lunch reminded me of my mother. They're small, she says, but they make my heart feel full, even on quiet, lonely days. That's the power of gratitude. It doesn't erase what went wrong. It highlights what still went right. And when practiced regularly, it gently rewires the brain to notice beauty, reduce stress and anxiety, sleep more soundly, and feel more emotionally grounded. Gratitude is not about pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing, with courage and softness, to see what remains good, even in the midst of uncertainty. You don't need a fancy journal. You don't need to write paragraphs. You can simply whisper it before bed. I'm thankful for the sound of rain. I'm thankful for a kind word I heard today. I'm thankful I made it through. Because when you rest with gratitude in your heart, your dreams soften, your body unclenches, your spirit exhales. And tomorrow, whatever it brings, starts from a place of peace. And there you have it. 12 small, soulful habits that happy women over 70 practice every single day, not to prove anything, but to live with peace, presence, and purpose. Maybe you already do some of these. Maybe a few felt like gentle reminders. And maybe, just maybe, one of them sparked something new in you today. If you take away just one thing from this video, let it be this. It's never too late to begin again. Not with a big dramatic change, but with a small, loving choice made just for you. So tonight, before you go to bed, ask yourself, what would tomorrow feel like if I started with gratitude and ended with joy? And if you felt seen, inspired, or comforted by anything we shared, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share this video with another woman who deserves a little more light in her life. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Speech balloon, which habit are you already practicing? Which one are you ready to try next? Thank you for spending this time with us here at Healthwise for Seniors. Until next time, take care of your body, your heart, and the quiet beauty of your days.